Hello, my friends. This is Helen, and welcome back to our English podcast for beginners. Today, I want to tell you a simple and clear story. I will speak slowly and softly so you can understand every word. Let's begin. Last Friday started like a normal, peaceful morning. I had my breakfast, drank my coffee, and suddenly remembered that I needed to go to the bank. I had received my paycheck, and I wanted to deposit it into my account. In the United States, many people receive direct deposit, but some companies still give paper paychecks, especially smaller ones. So going to the bank is still a common part of American life. I put the paycheck into my bag, grabbed my keys, and walked outside. The bank was only a few blocks away. I enjoy walking there because the morning air is quiet and fresh. When I arrived, I saw something very typical for the United States: a line. Americans take lines very seriously. People wait their turn patiently. Cutting in line is considered extremely rude. Inside the bank, I saw 3 lines, 2 short lines and 1 very long line. The long line was for the tellers. Tellers are employees who help customers with simple things like deposits, withdrawals, and balance checks. Many Americans talk to their tellers like to old neighbors, because they visit the same bank for years. I chose the shorter line. In front of me stood a woman with her young daughter. It sounded like she wanted to open a savings account for the girl. In the U.S., parents often open savings accounts for their children to save for college or emergencies. The line moved slowly, but that is normal in American banks. People sign papers, ask questions, and wait for receipts. Americans love receipts because they are proof that everything is correct. Finally, it was my turn. I walked to the counter and smiled. I said, "Good morning. I would like to deposit my paycheck, please." The teller smiled back and asked for my debit card. In the United States, showing your debit card is a very common form of identity verification. Sometimes they also ask for a photo ID, especially for large transactions. She typed something on her computer, checked the paycheck, and printed a deposit receipt. Americans almost always take their receipts. It is part of the culture. If something goes wrong, the receipt protects you. I checked the receipt, thanked the teller, and placed it safely into my wallet. My paycheck was deposited and my balance was updated. It felt good to finish the first task of the day. I walked out of the bank and into the sunlight. The morning was getting brighter. More people were outside, walking their dogs or going to work. As I started walking home, I remembered that Friday is market day in my neighborhood. Many American towns have a weekly farmers market. Local farmers sell fresh fruit, vegetables, flowers, honey, and sometimes homemade food. Americans enjoy supporting local farmers. Buying produce at a market feels personal and friendly. So instead of going home, I decided to visit the market. The walk was pleasant. I passed small houses with green lawns. I saw people pushing strollers, walking dogs, and riding bicycles. This calm morning scene is very typical in many American neighborhoods. When I arrived at the market, I saw bright colors everywhere. Red apples, green lettuce, yellow lemons, orange pumpkins. Vendors were arranging large containers of fresh produce. In the US, the word produce means fruits and vegetables. This word is used all the time in grocery stores. I picked a bag of apples and a box of strawberries. The vendor weighed them and told me the price. I paid in cash. Small markets often prefer cash, although many vendors now accept cards with small phone readers. Americans love convenience and technology. The vendor gave me my change and a small handwritten receipt. Again, receipts. Even at a farmer's market, some people give them. Customers expect it, so it becomes a habit. I thanked him and continued walking through the market. The smells were fresh, the colors beautiful, and the atmosphere warm. It felt like a small celebration of local life. After I finished at the market, I continued walking toward my neighborhood. The weather was warm, and the sun felt gentle on my face. I carried my small bag of apples and strawberries, and I enjoyed the simple feeling of a slow morning. On my way home, I passed a large grocery store. In the United States, grocery stores are usually very big and have many different sections. Some people even joke that American supermarkets are like small cities because you can find almost anything inside. I remembered that I needed a few more things for dinner, so I decided to go inside and pick up some groceries. The moment I entered, I felt the cool air from the air conditioning. Most American stores keep their buildings very cool, even in warm weather. Sometimes it feels too cold, but it is part of American shopping culture. Inside the store, everything looked bright and organized. Big grocery stores in the United States usually have clear signs that show each section: produce, dairy, bakery, frozen foods, snacks, household items, and many more. This helps customers find things quickly. I walked through the produce section again. Even though I already bought fruit at the market, I wanted to look at vegetables. The lettuce looked fresh, so I picked up a bag. Then I walked to the bakery area. The smell of warm bread was so nice. Many American supermarkets bake bread and pastries right inside the store. It makes the shopping experience feel warm and inviting. I chose a simple loaf of bread and continued to the next area. The hot food section was full of roasted chicken, mashed potatoes, soups, and vegetables. Many Americans buy hot cooked food from grocery stores because it saves time. After a long workday, cooking can feel difficult, so ready-made meals are very popular. I picked up a roasted chicken for dinner. It smelled delicious and felt warm through the container. I knew it would make my evening easier. I also needed some snacks. I grabbed a small pack of crackers and a few simple items. I didn't want to buy too much because I already had groceries from the market. Then I walked to the checkout area. Checkout areas in the United States are usually busy and full of activity. There are many lanes, and customers choose a line depending on how many items they have. At the front of each checkout lane, there is a cashier. Sometimes there is also a bagger. Baggers often help customers by putting groceries into bags. Many baggers are high school students working part-time. In the US, it is common for teenagers to have small jobs after school. I waited behind a man who had a very full cart. His cart was one of the large ones, filled with water bottles, cereal boxes, canned soup, and cleaning supplies. Large shopping carts are typical in American grocery stores. People often do big weekly shopping trips and fill their carts with many items. Sometimes one wheel on the cart squeaks or doesn't move well. This is such a common experience that people laugh about it. The famous broken wheel, they say. When it was my turn, the cashier greeted me. She said the classic line, "Did you find everything okay?" It is a standard phrase in American customer service. Cashiers say it automatically to make customers feel cared for. I told her yes, and she began scanning my items. The roasted chicken, the lettuce, the bread, the crackers. The scanner beeped gently each time. She told me the total, and I paid with my debit card. The machine asked if I wanted cash back. In American stores, you can withdraw small amounts of cash at the register. This is convenient if you do not want to visit an ATM. I selected no, cash back, and the payment went through. The bagger placed my items into 2 bags, organizing everything neatly. Americans appreciate when groceries are packed carefully, especially delicate items like bread or fruit. The cashier handed me my receipt, and of course, I took it. In the United States, taking your receipt is a normal habit. Many people save their receipts for returns, exchanges, or record keeping. I thanked both the cashier and the bagger. Then I walked outside into the warm sunlight again. My bags were not too heavy, and the aroma of the roasted chicken made me smile. It smelled like comfort and home. The walk back to my apartment was peaceful. I walked past small houses, colorful flowers, and a few people mowing their lawns. This kind of quiet suburban moment is very typical in many parts of the U.S. Clean streets, simple routines, and neighbors who wave hello. When I reached my building, I opened the door and climbed the stairs slowly. My arms were a little tired, but it felt good. Errands can be simple, but they give structure to a day. Inside my apartment, I set the grocery bags on the kitchen counter. I put the lettuce in the refrigerator, placed the bread on the table, and set the warm roasted chicken aside for dinner. The apples and strawberries from the market looked beautiful in the light. My morning had been full, but peaceful. Going to the bank, visiting the market, and shopping at the store created a small rhythm to my day. Ordinary activities, but full of small cultural moments. And sometimes simple days like this feel the most comforting. After putting all the groceries away, I washed my hands and sat down for a moment. The apartment felt quiet and calm. The soft smell of the roasted chicken filled the kitchen, and the sunlight came through the window in a warm, golden line. I looked at the apples I had bought at the market. They were bright red, almost shining. I decided to wash one and eat it as a small midday snack. It tasted sweet and fresh, and it reminded me of autumn days in small American towns. While I ate, I thought about my morning. It was nothing special, nothing dramatic, but it felt full in a good way. These small routines make life feel steady and comfortable. I thought about the bank line again. People waiting patiently, moving slowly, respecting the system. This is a big part of American culture. You wait your turn, you follow the order, and everyone gets helped eventually. I also thought about the farmers market, the friendly vendors, the conversations, the handwritten receipt, the smell of fresh berries. Markets like this make a big city feel like a small community. And then the grocery store. The bright lights, the organized shelves, the smell of fresh bread. The cashier asking, "Did you find everything okay?" The bagger placing items carefully into the bags. These small details show how much Americans value convenience and polite customer service. As I sat in my quiet kitchen, I realized something simple. Days do not need to be exciting to feel meaningful. Sometimes normal errands can make you feel connected to the place where you live. They show you the rhythm of the city and the habits of the people. I decided to make myself a cup of tea. I boiled some water and chose a mint tea bag, my favorite. The warm steam rose gently and the smell relaxed me. I sat by the window with my cup of tea and watched people walking outside. A woman pushed a stroller. A man carried a big bag of groceries. A teenager rode a skateboard down the street. Everyday life continued around me. I thought about how different neighborhoods can feel across the United States. Some are busy and loud. Some are quiet and calm. But in almost all of them, you will find the same scenes. People shopping, people walking dogs, people drinking coffee, people waving hello. It is these ordinary moments that show what American life is really like. Not the holidays or the big events, just the gentle rhythm of a normal day. As the afternoon went on, I felt grateful for the simplicity of the morning. I had taken care of important tasks, I had seen friendly faces, and I had enjoyed the peaceful walk through my neighborhood. Later that evening, I prepared dinner. I cut the lettuce, sliced some vegetables, and placed the warm roasted chicken on a plate. The kitchen smelled cozy. It felt like the perfect ending to a simple day. While I ate dinner, I thought about how small routines create stability. Going to the bank, shopping for groceries, visiting the market. These little things build a sense of home, no matter where you live. When I finished eating, I cleaned the table, washed the dishes, and slowly got ready for the evening. I felt peaceful, warm, and connected to my daily life. And that is how my ordinary Friday became a gentle, comforting memory. Nothing dramatic happened, but sometimes the quiet days are the ones that feel the most real. Thank you for listening to this simple and warm story. I hope it helped you relax and learn a little more about everyday life in the United States. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to the podcast and give it a like. Your support means a lot, and it helps us create new stories for you. See you in the next episode, my friends.